There's an email going around. It's been going around for a while. It started out as you may be a Taliban if. Now it's just you may be a Muslim if. That's the title. It was supposedly from American comedian JEFF FOXWORTHY. But if you go on Snopes, you'll see that JEFF FOXWORTHY had nothing to do with this because JEFF FOXWORTHY is not a vile hater. So whoever sent this email is a vile hater. But it's really important to know what the people that hate you, which is a small percentage in America, what they think is funny about Muslims. There's some insight. So I've got it here in my PDA. So here's the email. If you refine heroin for a living, but have a moral objection to liquor, you may be a Muslim. You own a $3,000 machine gun and $5,000 rocket launcher, but you can't afford shoes, you may be a Muslim. That's kind of interesting because I look at those things, and although they aren't necessarily true, there is some truth in that. And not about being a Muslim, but how sad is that there are children around the world who don't have shoes and can't afford an education, and they're walking around with these expensive armaments. It's real tragic. So despite this disgusting email, there's something to learn there, but there is a small percentage of the population in America that thinks that's funny. Number 3, you have more wives than teeth, which says that you believe in polygamy, which some Muslims do and some Mormons do. And all of us were from polygamy families at one time or another. My family on my grandmother's side, my dad's side, were Mormons. So I was born from polygamy. Not first generation polygamy, but let's see. You wipe your butt with your bare hand, but consider bacon unclean. Well, Jews and Muslims consider bacon unclean, and that's fine. That Muslims wipe their butts with their hands is really interesting because, we all wipe our butts. And it's interesting I don't know how many Muslims use their bare hands to wipe their rear ends, but none of my business. But from a global perspective, I think as far as cutting down trees and all that, and considering the Native Americans and all of our settlers, I think the whole concept of toilet paper, despite the fact that I use it, isn't great for the environment. I know the Mexicans, a lot of times they wipe their rear ends and they throw the tissue in the garbage can because they don't flush it. So we do the absolute worst thing here in America. We use toilet paper and we throw it down in the sewer and clog up our system. So, but it's a stereotype that sounds like it applies only to Muslims, but it's just an insult. Let's see. Number 5, you think vests come in 2 styles, bulletproof and suicide. You may be a Muslim. You can't think of anyone you haven't declared jihad against. You may be a Muslim. You were amazed to discover that cell phones have uses other than setting off roadside bombs. You may be a Muslim. So why is it that these people are setting off roadside bombs? You think maybe they've been invaded? I don't know. Let's see. Your cousin is president of the United States. You may be a Muslim. That's interesting. So they're slamming President Obama as well, claiming he's a Muslim. So it's a double insult. You have nothing against women and think every man should own at least 4, claiming that Muslims consider their wives to be chattel. Number 11, you find this offensive or racist and don't forward it. Interesting psychology. So anyway, that is a hateful email that circulated that I got. It isn't the mindset of all Americans, but some Americans find that funny. The same Americans who don't like Barack Obama and use him being a Muslim as a slam, an insult, which he isn't a Muslim, but if he was, none of my business. Keep in mind also that I've received hateful emails from Muslims who thought I was a Muslim, who said horrible things about Americans and non-Muslims. Like they cheat on their wives and they're a bunch of drunks and drug addicts and they don't know the meaning of life. It's always good to know what the other side's saying, just to get a little insight. But I didn't find the email funny, but it is interesting. Let me know what you think.